Welcome to Crimepedia. I am your host this week. My name is Morgan. I hope you're having a wonderful day. With me, as always, is my absolutely lovely co-host. It is Cherry. Hello, Cherry.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. How are you doing?
I am good, thank you. I hope everyone's had a nice New Year and a good Christmas. And now we're full on into 2023. And we've got some great cases this year that we've been working on. I'm really excited to help some families get some exposure for the things that they're looking for.
It should be a very interesting 2023 for us. And hopefully it'll be a great 2023 for all of you listening at home.
Yeah. And we've got some really good stuff coming up where you can see us. If you're going to be in London in June, you can come and see us at CrimeCon UK. Just check out the website, crimecon.co.uk. You're going to find loads of stuff going on there. You can come and see both of us. We're both going to be there, which is really nice because it's a very rare thing, being as Morgan's in America and I'm here. So it's quite nice when we do finally get to go together. So yeah, we've got some really good stuff on the horizon. And we're also going to be in Arkansas in May. We're going to be there for True Crime Fest, which is really good. And I'm sure we'll be at some other events throughout the rest of the year too.
Absolutely. So real quickly, we do have a few thank yous. We have some new Patreons to thank. I want to thank Sam for joining, as well
Thank
as
you, Sam.
Kristen, Rick, and
Thank you,
Amanda.
Kristen. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Amanda.
So thank you all for joining.
New people in our Patreon crew.
Yeah, thank you. So if you want to join our Patreon crew, you can do so by visiting us at patreon.com/crimepedia.
And I'm not going to promise that we do things that other podcasts do, like really intellectual, clever, stimulating stuff on our Patreon. Most of the time, it's just the two of us talking absolute nonsense about whatever's happened that week, totally off topic, and just loads of fun. A lot of it does actually revolve around recipes and food, which is really strange because I don't know why it does, but it's just something that's not always true crime. Sometimes it's true crime because we do an extra episode a month where we do a case closed, which is where we talk about a solved case. This might be something that if you live in America, it might be a solved case from England that you don't know about, but people in England will know a lot about it. Or sometimes it's completely different cases that you might not have heard about anyway. So we do some true crime stuff, but a lot of the time it's a bit more fun and a little bit just a bit off topic a little bit, and it's a bit of a bit more lighthearted.
Just a little bit. Yeah, and we have our live show. So we just did a live show not too long ago.
Yeah.
Christmas live show, which was very fun. So if you're a member of our Patreon, you get to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, and that was really good because we did a case that was an unsolved case, a British unsolved case, and it's not one that I think is a very well-known case, and our Patreons were able to join us in that and could put their questions forward as we went along the episode. So it was good fun to do it with lots of different points of view and lots of different people's perspective, which it raised a lot of questions, and I thought it was really fun. So we'll definitely do some more of them this year.
Yes, and we actually do have one little quick case update that we did. So we did the case of the murder of, or the death of Susan Ledyard last year, and we had some news that kind of broke related to that case. Terry, what can you tell us about that?
So we had somebody, let me just see who it was that actually sent us. So Ali sent us a message and said, have you seen this? And funnily enough, I had actually just seen it somewhere else, but there was a article that had come up on, I think it was YPBS. I think it was on PBS. And it came up and it was Benjamin Ledyard, who is the husband of Susan Ledyard that we covered the case about, had been charged on New Year's Day with an attack on his... Is it now his wife? It's his new wife, isn't it?
His
Stephanie.
New wife.
So
yes,
Stephanie was the lady that we believed he was allegedly having an affair with at the same time as he was married to Susan. Susan was then murdered, and then he's went on to marry Stephanie, and he was charged on New Year's Day with an attack on Stephanie over the summer. And it's quite a horrific attack. So reading through it, we could put the link to it up on our Instagram and stuff. Reading through it, I would be very interested to have a conversation with the people at the time that messaged us when we sent this episode out, saying that we were crazy to say that he could do anything to his wife. Because we did get quite a few people saying,
we did.
No, he would never do something like that. You know, he's not an angry man. He's not violent. He would never hurt his wife. Well, according to that article and according to the fact that he's just been charged with hurting his new wife, makes questions come up.
He bit off the tip of her finger.
You don't do that kind of thing, do you? If you're not an angry person.
No.
I hope they reopen. I really hope that they reopen her case now and look at this with different eyes, because the guy that was the number one suspect that was cleared because he was so cooperative with law enforcement is kind of shown in a completely different light now.
Yeah.
So it would be very interesting to see.
But at the same time, so we mentioned like getting people like, oh, he could never do it. We also got people that were like,
yeah. This guy
has secrets, and he's not who you think he is.
This is one of the cases that we got the most feedback on, wasn't it? It was it was one that a lot of people messaged us privately to say
very divisive.
Look,
divisive.
Yeah, here is some information that you ought to know about this person. And then there were other people that messaged us saying, look, he wouldn't do something like that. He's a really nice guy. He's really well mannered. He's really calm. He wouldn't do something like that. I wonder what they're thinking now, though, because if you do believe that somebody couldn't do something like that and somebody's a really nice guy, and then you hear that, surely you're going to be thinking,
Right.
So, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. And we'll let you know. We'll give you an update as and when we get them. And thank you to Ali, and thank you to everybody that gave us updates on this case. If there is a case update that you want to send over. We'd love to see it, because we don't always see every single case that comes about. So we would be interested to see if you've got one for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, how about we hop into this week's episode?
Let's go.
In 2003, a 34-year-old man went missing from a planned weekend hunting trip. Despite finding significant evidence of his movements, searches for the man were ultimately unsuccessful. Nearly 2 months after his disappearance, a shocking discovery would only add more questions to the mystery. This is Crimepedia, and this is the case of Mont Highley. All right, Sherry. Mont Highley IV was born on December 19th, 1969 to Mont and Gail Highley in Columbus, Ohio. Now, at the age of 6 months old, the Highley family would move to Montgomery, Alabama, where Mont was raised. Now, he was an avid outdoorsman who loved to hunt and fish, and he excelled at sports. Mont would attend the University of Alabama and was a member of the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity. After graduating, Mont began working in the construction field and would travel frequently. On November 27, 2003, Mont was spending Thanksgiving with his family in Montgomery. While Mont appeared to be quieter than normal, there was nothing in his behavior that caused his family to worry or to think that anything was wrong. The following day, Mont would once again spend time with his parents at their home. Sometime in the late afternoon or early evening, Mont received a phone call from an unknown person. According to his mother, Gail, Mont had been chuckling and seemed to be having a friendly conversation. Now, after that phone call ended, Mont decided to go to the family hunting cabin, known as the farm, and I will be referring to it as the farm.
The farm,
from this point forward.
Yeah.
So he decided to go to the farm that evening. Now, originally, Mont had planned to go to the farm with his father the following day. So he made a late second change of plans, said, hey, I'm going to go to the farm tonight. I will meet up with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Now, between 5 and 5:30 p.m., Mont would say goodbye to his mother and tell his father that he would see him tomorrow. He would then leave his parents' home and drive to the farm located on County Road 30 in rural Macon County, Alabama. Between 6 and 6:30 p.m., Mont would make a stop at a gas station and convenience store on County Road 30 to purchase beer. While he was there, he would make a phone call to a friend and invite him hunting. Now, that friend had prior commitments and told Mont that he was unable to go. Now, between 8 and 9:30 p.m., Mont would make a few phone calls from his cell phone in the area of the farm.
Okay.
With the last phone call being at 9:30 p.m. Now, the following afternoon, Mont's father would arrive at the farm. He would find the gate unlocked and the front door of the mobile home on the property open with the lights on inside and the TV on. Mont and his green Chevrolet Tahoe were nowhere to be found. So there was no sign of Mont. His car was not located in the area, or actually located on the property. Now, that day, there was a football game being played between the University of Alabama and the University of Hawaii. So Mont's father assumed that he must have gone to go watch the game with some friends. Now, I'm not saying this is suspicious or anything, but it should be noted that that game actually started at 7:45 p.m. So that game was at night. So if you show up, you're like, oh, he went to go watch the football game with some friends. If you're showing up in the afternoon, that's a little early.
Is it a long way away
for the game? Well, no, the game was actually in Hawaii. The game was being played in Hawaii. So,
okay.
So if he was going to go watch it with friends, he would be going over to someone's house or going to a bar.
So it's not like it was local, so he'd have to go and watch it like on a TV somewhere. Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
But I guess, he was like, he didn't think anything of it. He was like, I must have went to go watch the game with some friends. Which I guess is okay. It makes sense. It might have been a little early.
Damn kids, left the lights on, left the TV on. Like kids do sometimes, don't they? Especially teenagers. They don't think about electric and things like that. And so he's probably just gone, oh, stupid. He's left the TV on, left the door unlocked. I think I'd find it a bit weird though. I think if I got there and you're expecting him to be there, you kind of would be a bit straight away, your stomach would go, wouldn't it? Because as a parent, if you're pulling up to somewhere like that and you're expecting your son to be there, and then you pull up and the lights are on, but there's no car, he's nowhere to be seen, the TV's on, the door's unlocked, you'd be like, what? Where is he? Where's he gone?
No phone call.
No.
Yeah, no phone call saying, hey, I know we're meeting up to go hunt, but I'm going to go meet up with.
Or I'm just going to pop out and get some stuff and then I'll be back. I've just, I don't know how far it would be from a convenience store or something, but well, like you said, he did it on the way. So he might have thought, oh, he's just popped out to get some, I don't know, beer or something. But that's still your stomach would go, wouldn't you? It's like if you do get home from and you realise that somebody's left something on in the house. You get in and you're like, that's weird. No one's home and the TV's on. What's going on?
Exactly.
So I think your stomach would drop straight away. That's horrible.
I would feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something not quite right with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, after, not finding Mont and not seeing him around, Dr. Highley would then lock up the farm and head home. The Highleys didn't suspect anything was wrong until they received a phone call the following day from Dale Segrist, letting them know that they had found Mont's Tahoe on their nearby property on County Road 30.
Okay? Oh, on their property.
On their property. Yeah. So the car, the Tahoe is located on their property. From what I understand, it's probably about a 2.5 mile drive from the farm to the Segrist property.
Odd.
Now these are very large properties too. So, so really, if you think about it, they are a neighbor, even though it's 2.5 miles away.
Yeah,
the closest neighboring neighbor. Properties.
Yeah, that's my kind of.
Now,
neighbor.
after Steve being that far away, yeah. Exactly. Now, after receiving the call, Dr. Highley and his wife Gail headed to the Segrist family camp. When they arrived, they discovered Mont's wallet with $200 in cash in it, the keys to the car or the truck in the ignition, his hunting rifle, and his briefcase were still located inside of it.
Now it's starting to get weird. Now you're starting to get strange now.
Now the Higleys and the Segrist family members, they started to check around a duck pond located on the property for any signs of him. Now, the Higleys did recall that Dale said that he did not know originally who the truck belonged to at first, and believed that it must have been related to drugs because it had a Florida license plate. So for some reason, he saw the car and was like, "Oh, this must be a drug vehicle or something," right?
On his own
Which is
property?
on his property, which is that would concern me, right?
I'd be like, "What the
If you
hell are you
don't
doing on
know,
my property?"
yeah, what is this car doing here, right?
Yeah.
Now, another Seagrass family member would later state that the family did host a small gathering that same weekend and did see
Ah.
Mont's Tahoe on the property, but didn't think too much of it since they had known the Highleys for a while
Yeah.
and knew that their camp was not too far away. So you have one who's saying, I didn't know whose car it was strange. And he said he didn't know it was Mont's until he looked through his wallet and saw his driver's license, right?
Mm.
But then you have another family member who's saying, okay, yeah, we saw it, but we didn't think anything of it because we knew it was Mont's and we knew that their property was really close.
Mm. They didn't think to say to each other, have you seen there's a truck on the drive, or there's a truck on the property? Did you see that? Oh no, don't worry, it's just Mont's from the next property.
Yeah.
We know who it is, don't worry about it. That's strange. I mean, did you say his name was Dale? Is he the dad or is he
Dale.
A kid?
He's a dad. He's a dad.
So he's the dad. So he didn't know who it was.
Yeah, he said he didn't know it was. So which makes sense. So
that could make sense.
If it was a kid or a son or something that they might know.
They might know that's his truck. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even if they do know who know it's his, wouldn't it still be strange to find his truck on the property with him nowhere to be found?
I mean, maybe if he had a gathering, they might have thought he'd had something to drink and then just walked home rather than drive home. It could be that it was that, like they've had a gathering but then nobody's mentioned that he was there at the gathering. It's not if you had like a barbecue or something and he was there and then his property his truck was left on the property. You could understand that if he's had a few beers, it hasn't driven home. You could think, oh, maybe he's just left it there because he drank before and so he'll probably come back and get it. But if he hasn't been with them, that's strange to just find it on his, on their land.
Yeah. No one ever came forward to say, yeah, he was at the gathering and he was there. Strange. We saw him. Yeah. So no one saw him on the property. They just saw his Tahoe. Okay. Now, with no signs of Mont in the area, the Higleys would then drive to their Lake Martin house to see if Mont was there or had been there. Now, after finding no indications that Mont had ever been there, they would report Mont as being missing and would return to the farm. Okay. Now, when they made it back to the farm, they would discover things that Dr. Highley had not noticed the day before. So this is where things start to get a little strange, right?
Yeah.
Now they found a pair of Mont's boots sitting side by side on the front porch, and that they were wet. So a pair of wet boots were sitting on the front porch.
Yeah.
Now inside the bedroom, on the floor, they found a pair of his new pants, which were also wet from the upper thigh down. Inside the pocket, they found his cell phone along with $100 cash.
So he had like $200 in his wallet, $100 cash in his pants.
Yeah. So we're talking $300 total that they found of his.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you would think that. This is what I don't know is if he just happened to not notice or pay attention to the boots. He walked past them, but it's strange to me that in returning he found this stuff. So it's not clear to me if these items had been at the farm when he first arrived.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
I mean, he's going there to meet his son, so he's not actually taking much notice when he first gets there. When he goes back there, he's going there knowing that they can't find his son and that his car's been found somewhere else. So he goes back there looking more critically at the place. So it's quite feasible that when he first got there, he just walked straight past the boots, straight past the pants on the floor. It didn't really...
Very possible.
Because the guy could have been like that generally. I mean... Anyone who's got kids knows that they're not the tidiest of beings. So, I mean, it could just be that this guy has just taken off his trousers and chucked them on the back of the sofa or chucked them on the floor, and that's just what he does. So that might not have been out of the ordinary for him. The dad's got there and thought, oh, maybe he was in a rush. He's come in, he's wet, he's come in, got changed and gone again. But this time they know that his truck's turned up somewhere else. They know that his wallet's turned up somewhere else and his hunting rifle. So he hasn't gone off with those things because they've got them.
Yeah.
So maybe he's going back and looking now differently.
Now he's
noticing things because he might be like, well, that's not normal, whereas he might not have noticed that before.
I would be interested to see or to know if, like, how, when they say they're wet, how wet are they at this point? 'Cause,
Are we talking soaking or are we talking just a bit wet?
Damp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting, because I think that would be a better indication of when they were left.
And you said that his car was found near a duck pond. So I'd be
Yes, that's
interested to
correct.
know what other bodies of water there are close to where their farm is. Have they got like water on their land?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
So the chances are he's gone into the water for something up to his thighs.
Very possible.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, he's waded into water for a reason. So then it's interesting to know why, if he waded into water in the duck pond on the neighbouring property, why he didn't get back in his car, or
exactly,
has he waded into water on his own property? That would be interesting to know. What sort of water are we talking about on the trousers? Are we talking about muddy water? Are we talking about pond water? Are we talking about fresh water? It would be interesting to know what kind of water we're dealing with.
Exactly. Yeah, so I sent you, real quick, I just sent you the map of the area, okay? And so if you look at the area around us on County Road 30, there are numerous lakes and ponds, as well as creeks.
Yeah.
Now, there is a creek that is on the property of the farm. So behind where the mobile home is.
Yeah, it's not big enough to see, is it? Like from a satellite view on Google, it's not big enough to see.
No, you
like
can't.
The lakes.
No.
Yeah.
No. So my question would be, is that creek deep enough for
for thigh high,
wet thigh high, right?
Also, when you look at this, like, it's really vast.
It is.
Like there's a lot of there's a lot of greenery. There's a lot of like fields. Huge. It's a huge area. Like when we say that there's neighbouring properties, the properties are quite far apart. Like not within walking distance. For I wouldn't have said that his house was in walking distance of that neighbouring farm quickly. That would take you quite a long time to walk from one to the other. Along,
it's not like
30.
Okay. So we did the case. It was in one of your cases in Scotland, Stephen Sutherland, right? And you remember how we talked about how he walked, and he was walking through the fields, so he was cutting through fields. This is not the same case, where it would not be easy to just cut through fields to get from point A to point B, because this is heavily forested area.
I've just looked, like when you do the road, you can do like Street View of Google. I've just gone along Street View to see what it looks like at ground level. And there's no way you're going to be stomping through. I mean, there's small little bits of water that don't actually show up on the satellite view. So there are small areas of water like that I can see now that don't show up on satellite view. But it looks a bit, not swampy, but you know what I mean? It looks marshy. So I don't think this is going to be the sort of place that you're just going to trunch across fields to get to one place to the other. There's quite a lot of forest and trees, and the terrain isn't great for like walking across. It's really strange.
So if this were me, my question would be, what happened first? Did the Tahoe end up in the Seagrass property before the boots and the pants get wet, or were the boots and pants wet from something else, and then the car ends up at the Seagrass property? So what happens first?
And I'd be interested to know how well he knows the kids of the Seagrass property. Like, are they friends? Are they acquaintances? Do they ever hang out? Because it's strange that his vehicle's been left on their property. How close are they, to each other?
You know what?
Not very. If the dad doesn't even recognize the vehicle.
This is just my assumption. Okay. My assumption is they probably wouldn't know each other very well, because it's not like the Highley family were living at the farm, right? This was a hunting camp. So they're only using this when they're going out hunting.
Yeah.
So if anything, they might see each other in passing, but I don't think it's going to be a close relationship. Because seems like the Segrist families, they have a lot of property in this area, and there's a lot of family in the area. So it almost seems like this is where they live.
Yeah, that's
where the Highleys are. They just have this property that they use for hunting.
Holiday, yeah, like holiday home. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's plenty of places for him to get into water, but it's why is he getting in water? Why is everything wet? And did this happen before or after the car ended up at the Segrist property? So that would be my question.
Yeah.
Right. Now, on December 1st, multiple agencies, including the Macon County Sheriff's Office and the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation, as well as the Highleys, friends, and over 200 volunteers, began a multi-day search of the 290-acre farm, that's the Segrist farm, with aerial flyovers and tracking dogs. Okay. Now, during the search, the family golf cart was found abandoned and slightly stuck on a tree root. Okay. Scattered around the golf cart, searchers would find Mont's shirt, a pistol, a rechargeable flashlight, still in working condition, and other various items. Now, Dr. Highley said that the golf cart wasn't significantly stuck, as he was able to easily push the golf cart off of the route by himself with no problems, right?
Right.
And he couldn't imagine that being the reason Mont would have just left it.
So strange.
It is very
So the
strange.
golf cart would have been found at the hunting place. That would be where it's normally kept.
No. Oh. This was found on the Segrist property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this search was being done on the Segrist property, and this is where they found it.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this search, they would actually do the search until December 4th. So really, they did 4 days of searching. Now, after exhausting all reasonable search efforts, authorities would call off the search for Mont, but they would stated that the investigation would remain active. At that point, the Highley family would offer a $10,000 reward and started passing out flyers containing Mont's information. Now, during the investigation, police would learn that a witness recalled seeing a dark-colored pickup truck leaving the Highley camp, so the farm, okay? And that was at around 5 a.m. on November 29th. Okay?
So, yeah.
So at 5 a.m., someone reported seeing a dark-colored pickup truck leaving the Highley farm.
Right, okay.
Okay. And honestly, from what I can tell, this is probably the one witness that came forward with any sort of significant information.
Yeah.
Which isn't surprising, seeing the area. I mean, it's extremely rural. 5 a.m., yeah, you're probably going to have hunters out, but there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to be up and about that are going to be able to witness the coming and goings in the area.
That's right, yeah. So weird.
It is very, very weird. Now, on January 14th, 2004, this was almost 7 weeks after Mont's disappearance, investigators would receive a call related to a body being found approximately a half mile away from where Mont's Tahoe was located in an unused grain silo located behind the Back 40 restaurant, this was a restaurant that was owned and operated by a man named Ted Johnson. Now, this was across the street, across County Road 40, and probably, like I said, half mile down the road. Okay.
Okay.
Now, according to Mr. Johnson, the silos were in the area. There was some border collies that were being housed in kennels near the silo.
Yeah.
But the silo had not been used since the 1980s, and no one had been inside the silo for a long time.
Strange.
Now, neighbors would state that the area surrounding the silo had been searched in late November, early December searches. Now, but however, there was the the investigators were not able to verify whether cadaver dogs had searched the barn and the surrounding property, or whether anyone actually checked inside the silo. Now, investigators did not immediately confirm the identity of the body, but stated given the location in relation to where Mont disappeared, it was possible that it was him. Now, this would actually be confirmed the following day when dental records confirmed that the body found in the silo was Mont. So somehow, Mont's truck ends up in Seagrass family park or family property, and his body is located half mile away inside of a abandoned silo.
Yeah. And whose property was the body found on?
It was Ted Johnson. His name was Ted Johnson.
Okay.
So there was this old silo on it, and the property actually at the time was a restaurant called the Back 40 Restaurant, which is no longer there. So that restaurant is gone. If you're looking at a map, it's about halfway between the Seagrass property and the Bradford Chapel Cemetery.
Strange. I wonder why it's all concentrated down there. So I'm just looking at the map myself, and the Bradford Chapel Cemetery, is quite a way away from where Mont's hunting lodge is. And then if you look where the Seagrass property is to the Bradford Chapel Cemetery, okay, that's not that far. So there's two massive lakes there. So there is two lakes very close to the properties, but there are also numerous other little properties that are around there. I wonder if you would find it strange. I mean, it wouldn't take very much for him to walk from the Seagrass property across the grass there into the woods, into where the lake is. And it seems strange that everything seems to be concentrated down this area. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody, that anybody in the Seagrass property of anything like that, but it seems strange that everything's concentrated here. His trousers are wet and we don't know where that's from. Surely, though, they could get. Is it an entomologist? They could get, one of those people that do studies on water and like bio stuff from the water. That they could then go and look to see that there might be something growing in one of those lakes that's not growing in the other. That would be native to that area. That could be on his clothing. It's interesting then that he's found on. And where did you say that he's found on another? There is a little. Right by the lake there is a property there I can see, but you said it's not there anymore, or the silo's not there.
It was, well, here's it. It was located at 5001 County Road 30, Shorter, Alabama.
Okay.
So if you go and you look, so it's no longer there, but if you go and look, there is a pond there's a pond there. And really, besides that, it's just there's open field.
I can't see why somebody would do something to him, take off his pants, take off his boots, take them back to his property, drop them on the floor of his property. So I don't think I don't think it's happened that way round.
So you're thinking that
he was already wet.
He was already wet.
Yeah, he's gone home, got changed, and then he's gone somewhere from there. I wonder if somebody gave him a lift back to his property so that he could get changed and something's happened, because it seems strange that he would get wet, go home, get changed, and then so I don't know. I wonder if he's driven to the property, they've gone and they've got wet, however, and the person said, well, don't jump in your truck, I'll give you a lift home and then we'll just come back. That makes sense that you would do it like that rather than take two, like him driving back. Oh, so okay, I'll drive you back, I'm going that way, I'll drive you back, or whatever. It seems strange that he would get wet, go home, get changed, then go back out again, or have it done after. I don't think somebody would go back and place the wet trousers and boots back in the property. I think it's a bit strange. I don't think
that. Now it is interesting that when they were doing the search and they brought the dogs. Now dogs did track his scent from the Seagrass property to another property across the street where they lost it, which would be on the way to where he was eventually found.
Right. Okay.
So there's the question there: is he alive at that point?
Yeah.
Or is he being moved? This is the thing too. He found in an unused silo. So to me, it sounds like this is someone that has to know the area and know
Definitely.
that the silo is not being used for anything.
Realistically, he's not going to go and crawl into a disused silo, is he? He's not going to go
No.
because, he's not going to go and crawl into a silo for any reason. That's strange. That's a strange thing to do. So he's obviously been put in the silo by someone. Have we got any information on the autopsy report? Do we have anything about that?
This is interesting.
Okay.
We do not. We do not know how he died. We don't know cause of death. The autopsy report has not been publicly released ever. So no one has ever spoken about the autopsy. No one has spoken about his cause of death. There's nothing.
That's interesting. I wonder if the family got his autopsy. I wonder if they got the autopsy report. Mm-hmm. Because it would be interesting. Obviously, they're treating this as a suspicious death straight away. So straight away, when this happens, the police would then prepare a file for the coroner because it's an unexplained death. And the coroner does the who died, where they died, when they died, and why they died, not necessarily how. So it's a common misconception that the people think that a coroner will tell you how a person died, why a person died, sorry. But that's not the coroner's job. They will tell you medically how the person died. So it would be very interesting to see this autopsy report. They're obviously treating this as murder. So it would be very interesting to see why they're treating this as murder.
Well, this is okay. So this is another interesting little aspect of this whole case, right? Mm-hmm. So investigators have always declined to classify the investigation as anything other than a death investigation. Okay.
Oh, okay.
However, in August 2004, the former governor of Alabama, his name is Bob Riley, offered a $5,000 reward for any information. This is directly from the governor. Any information relating to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for the murder of Mont Highley.
So they are classifying it as a murder finally then.
Well, according to the governor at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the first time that his death was ever publicly characterized as a murder.
Okay.
Now, there's other things that kind of indicate that they have classified it as a murder. In 2005, there was a grand jury that was convened in Montgomery County. Okay. That actually was called in regards to the investigation and the death or murder of Mont Highley.
Okay.
So usually when there's a grand jury, what they're doing is they're presenting the information about the death, about the murder, and usually it's in regards to a specific person
or persons. Yeah.
Now, despite this, it's still unclear as to why Mont's case was being presented to the grand jury at the time. It's unclear why it was presented in Montgomery County rather than Macon County, where the body was found. Now, from this, there were no arrests or charges that came from the grand jury, and no person of interest have ever been named publicly from this.
Okay. The thing that straight away, I would like to know straight away, what kind of kid was Mont? Obviously, the Seagrass kids are talking about them thinking that the truck was just a drug, or the dad, I thought it was just a drug deal. Okay, so they must know of drug problems in that area. So, okay, if that's the case, and if they're knowing that there's like drugs going on here, what kind of people are we talking about? These Seagrass kids. What kind of person is Mont? Has he been known to take drugs before? Has he been known to? I mean, I doubt his dad's going to go hunting with him when he's high on something. But I'm not a hunter. I wouldn't go hunting with somebody who was high. But maybe they do. It'd be very interesting to know that. Could this be that he's involved in some kind of drugs? Parents don't always know. Let's face it. I mean, parents don't always know what their kids are up to. I mean, how old did you say he was? Mont?
34.
So he's not a child. So he's not a child.
It's not
like he's a teenager. So it would be very interesting to see what kind of friends he surrounds himself with, what kind of relationship they had with the people at the Seagrass place. It would be quite interesting to see from that point of view, because we don't really know a lot about him. And it seems strange to me that this is all contained in a very small area. It's very close
small.
Because if you are looking at a map at the moment, which I know a lot of our listeners like to do when we're doing our episodes, if you look at where Mont's place is compared to that of the Seagrass place and compared to that of where his body was found, he lives over right up on the right hand side of the map, and his body was found down south and to the left, and then the Seagrass property is just slightly to the left a little bit more. It all seems to be very, very in a close contained area.
It's very
His car's there, there's water there, his body's found there. It seems really strange as to why he would be in that area. There's got to have been a reason why he was down in that area when he's supposed to be meeting his dad to go and do some hunting. The other thing is interesting. Why was he making all those phone calls at the gas station? Who was he calling? Why was he making so many phone calls? So I know, I get if you're just stopping off and you're waiting for somebody there, then you fill your time by playing, I don't know, whatever on your phone, or you call people to catch up because you've got an hour if you're waiting for somebody. But why, when he's getting beers to go back to the place where he's staying, why make so many phone calls? So I'm wondering, is he phoning to try and get drugs? Is he seeing if he can get some from anywhere? And this has all gone a bit wrong.
I want to know. I think the most important phone call is the one that he took or he made at his parents' house before he made a decision to go to the farm.
Yeah.
That night instead of the following day.
How far is the drive
a feeling
again?
That there was
from home.
It's probably about, if I'm just completely guessing on this.
Yeah.
Just knowing about the timeline, it's probably about 45 minutes or so.
Okay, so
between 45 minutes and an hour.
So it's not really, really close. It's not like he lives just literally just across the way. It's going to be a proper trek to go there.
It's a decent drive.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it would be interesting to see who he spoke to before he decided to go. And the dad's like, well, I'll meet you there tomorrow. He's like, okay, yeah, fine, because I've got stuff to do tonight. Well, okay. Then he goes and gets beers. Then he starts phoning loads of people. So that's interesting. Who is he phoning? It sounds
like he's meeting people. He's going to be meeting people. Or he's
setting something up. Yeah, because he's calling different people. So it sounds to me like he's trying to, or he's setting something up. Whether that's meeting people to pick up drugs, or whether he's meeting people because he wants to hang out with them that night because he's going to be staying in the lodge and waiting for his dad. It seems strange that on the way there he makes all these phone calls. I mean, why didn't he just say, oh yeah, well, I'll travel down with you tomorrow, Dad? Why did he have to go the night before? There's obviously a reason.
Right, exactly.
There's obviously a reason he decided to go that night. So it's interesting to see who. I wonder if they did get I'm sure they must have done, because that's like basic detective work, and I'm sure they would have got their phone records to see who he called.
Yeah,
I would hope so.
Exactly,
because that would answer quite a few questions.
Yeah. The thing that here's the thing too. So we know he has a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
And he's making a phone call from the gas station convenience store.
Yeah.
Is he using a cell phone? Is he using a payphone? How is he making these phone calls?
Yeah.
Who is he calling? Is he calling the same number over and over and over?
Yeah. Is it different people?
Yeah.
And if he's if he's not using his cell phone, if he's using a payphone, why? Why when he's got his cell phone there? So that would be interesting to know from the CCTV if they've got it at the gas station. Was he using the cell phone or was he using a payphone? And if he was using a payphone, obviously something's not quite right there, because he obviously doesn't want the call traced.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of just really strange things with the case. There's rumors about it, of course.
Okay.
And there's rumors about that Mont. There are rumors that Mont was involved in drugs.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense. That that is an avenue you'd have to look down.
Like if this was, here's the thing. When they found him, he was still wearing his watch, and he was wearing it was a $600 watch.
Oh,
wearing.
So probably not robbery.
It's not robbery. Is it? And you'd think that if he owed someone money, they would.
They'd take the watch.
They take the watch, right?
Yeah,
or something. So is this a case where he the big question is how he died, right?
Yeah, that would be interesting. Was it a hunting
drug
accident?
overdose?
Yeah, exactly.
Was he shot? Was he strangled? Was it an overdose? What was the cause of it? And that would really start pointing the investigation where we need to look at, right? So if it's something as simple as he died of a drug overdose, okay, well let's look at his friends.
Yeah,
let's look at who
did he contact? Yeah, that's right.
Or who did he get his drugs from?
Yeah,
exactly. That becomes a lot easier than say he was shot.
Yeah,
because now you have I think you have a wider net to cast when it comes to he was shot. So why was he shot?
What was he shot with? Because was he shot with a hunting rifle? Was this a hunting accident? Or was he shot with a pistol? In which case, obviously, that's not. You don't go hunting with a pistol. So that would also be very interesting.
But they found a pistol, though. You remember?
That's right, they did, yeah.
At the golf cart, there was a pistol. So if he was shot, was it from his pistol?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it sounds like he committed suicide. Because why would you go to the silo and do that? You just do it in the house that you're already in. You know, I don't think it doesn't seem like that's the sort of thing. Again, it's interesting.
And seeing how the governor at the time had stated, looking for information on his
a murder. Yeah.
And then looking at the fact that they did call his case in front of a grand jury.
Yeah, it seems like
that doesn't sound like suicide to me at all.
No. So it sounds to me like they've got information that they're not releasing, understandably. But I find this really frustrating with cases. And I get this quite a lot with the English cases that we talk about. It's an unsolved case. It's going cold because no one's talking about it. Yet they won't give you information to talk about it. And that's this frustrating thing. Like, but the police departments will say, we don't have enough resources for this. We've only got, and I understand that. But then release some details, give people a little bit more to be able to then go, actually, so-and-so was talking about that. He said this. I mean, that's how you solve cases. The investigators are obviously getting nowhere with it. So then they need some kind of, boost on it. So give people something to talk about. You can't just say, we've got no resources, we can't talk about it. We will investigate if new information comes to light. Because how is new information going to come to light if you won't give anybody any information? It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand, obviously, they have to rein it in. They can't give you all the vital information, but they can give you more.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I feel like this is a case where if you do give some more, then maybe something's going to click in someone's mind and be like, oh, I remember.
I saw a vehicle.
So-and-so. Yeah. I saw a vehicle, or I talked to this guy and he said he was going to go meet with Mont that night.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like there has to be something. I don't think that this is a situation or a case that has that many potential suspects. I don't think this is a case where he happened to run into a serial killer out in the middle of nowhere, right?
I agree.
This is a case, the people we need to be looking at are A, the people that he had contacted that night.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
B, people in the area. Because once again, he was found in an unused silo. Someone had to have known
that was empty. Yeah. And it's unused.
That was empty. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't just you have to be familiar with the area to be able to
know it was there for a start.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd have to have known it was there, and you'd have to know it was disused. So that suggests somebody with local knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I wonder if they think they know who did this, but it's pinning the evidence on them. And the problem is, if they do let too much out, the chances are then that it could jeopardize the case in that information is already public. And so it might be that they're not actually looking for anybody in connection with this because they think they know already who did it. That's what it seems to me looking at it. That's what I think.
They're just waiting for that one piece of information that they can just say,
there you go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can tie you to it because of this.
Especially seeing that it has gone before a grand jury.
Yeah.
There has to be someone that they suspect.
Yeah, to have it in front.
To get to that point.
Yeah, totally. How frustrating for the family. How frustrating is that for them, that it's just that piece of information that they just need, the final piece of the puzzle they just need to put in before they can go forward with the prosecution. That must be so frustrating for them to possibly know that there's someone responsible for their son's murder, but it's just waiting for that. And this happens so often in cases. There's so many cases where the police know pretty much 99% that this person did it, but it's being able to pin that. Because here, the CPS that we have here, trying to get a conviction on somebody is so hard. Like, I watched a documentary where there was a guy who had been domestically abusing his partner, and it was obvious. It was obvious that he had been doing it, and it was everything was there, but it was just the tiniest piece of evidence that they just couldn't get to stick. And it had all played in, and it was he had ended up dead, and it was like her brother or something that had killed him. And although obviously you feel for the brother, because the brother actually has killed the bloke that's beating up his sister, you can see how it's happened and why it's happened. You kind of don't want them to get the information because you don't want him to be done for it, because this guy was awful to his sister. But unfortunately, you can't just go around killing people just because they've hurt your family member. You know, unfortunately, in some cases that would be great, but and it's difficult to get it to stick. The police knew he did it. Everyone knew he did it, but it was just trying to get that last bit of evidence 100%, so that the jury would say with reasonable doubt, there's no reasonable doubt that you did this. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to prove. I feel for them.
I really hope that this is not the same situation with this case. I really hope.
I just hope that they find whatever it is they just need to stick. I hope they find, because the killer is going to know, aren't they? They're going to know certain things that have not been released to the public. There's going to be things that only that killer will know. And
there's someone out there that knows what happened.
I think there's probably more than one person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think there's probably more than one person that knows exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're just, well, allegiances change over time. So let's hope that somebody does. I mean, just say something. You don't even have to give your name. Ring from a payphone. Give the police, give them a name. Give them a piece of information that only that person would know. You don't even have to give your name. Just give that family, just so that they know.
This case is just so strange.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of it's weird. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I'd be very interested to see that call log and see who he spoke to and why. What was he doing there? What was his like relationship status? He's like 34, did you say? I mean,
he wasn't seeing anyone at the time.
Heterosexual,
so single,
homosexual,
no,
do we know?
Hetero, I think.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah,
from everything, there's nothing that indicates otherwise.
I know, because like in some places in America, like they're very homophobic, aren't they? And so if somebody was, there are areas where that would be really frowned upon, and that would be something that people wouldn't take very lightly.
I mean, I don't think it would be out of line for me to say that this part of the country is one of those places.
Right. It's only because I'm just trying to think of everything. I'm just trying to, if it was my son, I'd want somebody to be thinking of absolutely any reason why somebody would have something against their son. So that was just one of the things that just popped into my mind. Why would somebody do something like that? Because I read a thing that said, if you can sort out motive, if you can try and find motive, you can find the person. If you can find out why somebody was killed, the reason they were killed, it's likely that you'll be able to find out who orchestrated that killing. So what motive have people got to kill him? Was it drugs? Was it a relationship? Was it, I don't know, turf wars of some sort? What was the reason that somebody would want to kill this person? And then the other things kind of slot into place around that.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It'd be interesting.
Be very interesting. I mean, he seems, from the little that I know about him, he seems like a really great guy. He would have been a great guy. I'm just looking at his obituary.
Not a troublemaker, not into issues.
Yeah, during
awful.
He was said that that even if he never married or had his own children of his own, he would always say that his siblings' children, so his nieces and nephews, were always enough for him. So he absolutely loved his nieces and nephews so much. It's so sad that they didn't get to grow up with him.
Yeah.
With their
so
Uncle
sad
Mont.
for his family. It's awful.
It really is.
I hope they find. I hope somebody comes forward from that area, and I hope somebody just gives them a little bit more, just so they can get whoever did this to him for his family's sake. It's not going to bring him back.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. It's not going to bring their son back or their brother back, but it will give them some kind of comfort knowing that the person who did this is now going to pay for what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must be awful not to know.
Yeah. Well, that is our case.
Thank you. That was a really interesting case, actually. I'm not saying I enjoyed that, but I think it's very interesting to talk about that.
It is.
And it's very interesting that this is a case where it's not in a housing estate. It's not somewhere. It's an interesting map view to look and to try and piece together what's happened. I would be really interested to hear more about this. So we'll keep an eye out for this and see whether there's anything else that we can find out, and then we'll let you know if we do get a case update.
Hopefully we do. I mean, it's been 20? It'll be 20 years this year, so hopefully
it's about time.
Hopefully something comes out, and hopefully there's some new information or some sort of resolution. I know that the family are trying to renew efforts into getting information.
Good. Good for them.
The investigation has never been closed, so we know that the investigation has always been ongoing. They just need that one little last piece of information that can close this thing up for the family.
And if you're listening and you do know something, just call in. You don't even have to give your name. Don't get yourself into trouble. I know that's the one thing that people always think, that they're going to get themselves into trouble. They fear for themselves. There must be a way. There must be a way of getting the information to the police without giving up your name if you don't want to do that. I totally understand, but think of their family and think of if that was your family, how you'd feel. So that brings us to this point in the episode where we have talked about something that's pretty horrific. We try and lighten the mood a little bit and finish off with something that might make you smile, because we don't want you going away sad. This is a segment we like to call the Dumb Criminal.
Hey, dum-dum head, you's a real jackass.
Thank you, Captain. This one is certainly a dummy. Now, this dummy is a guy called Derek Mosley, and planning a crime is probably quite an important part of that crime. You don't want to go in there half-assed, and you don't want to go in there unprepared. Okay, so I would think that if you were going to do a decent crime like a robbery or something like that, you would stake out the place. You would see when it's busy, when it's not, see where the exit routes are. That's what I would do if I was going to be doing that. Now, Derek Mosley did not think that was very important to do that. So he decided to rob a gun store. Okay.
Oh, all right.
But he robbed the gun store, not armed with a gun himself, but armed with a baseball bat. Okay. But seeing as it is a gun shop, when he went in with the baseball bat, the manager pulled a gun on him. And he was kept in the store with his baseball bat, with a gun pointed at him, until police came and arrested him.
Oh, come on.
I mean, seriously, if you're going to go and rob a gun store, do you not realize that the owner or the manager is probably going to have access to a gun?
Oh, many guns.
Yeah, well, this guy, Derek Mosley, did not think about that.
Oh, no.
Was very quickly apprehended by police.
That might be the dumbest way or to rob anything.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, what would be dumber? A dumber way to rob something? Or what place would you not want to rob?
Why? Like a police, police office.
A police station.
That's like the stupidest place. But why would you do that? Go into a gun store armed with a baseball bat. He's going to be so scared of you with your little baseball bat there, isn't he? And what's he going to get away with? Just guns. I mean, why? What's wrong with you?
It's like, I was thinking about, you ever seen Crocodile Dundee? Right?
Yeah.
He's getting mugged and the guy has a knife.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's a knife? You called that a knife? This is a knife.
Yeah, he pulled like a machete. Yeah. It's just like that, isn't it? So well done, Derek Mosley. Mosley.
Wow.
You are the very first dumb criminal of 2023.
That is ridiculous.
I know, I knew you'd like that one. As soon as I read it, I was like, that is the one. That is the one for this episode.
That was a good one.
I've got some blinders for you coming up. So thank you all for listening and Happy New Year from us. We will be back next week with another episode for you. So for now, be nice.
And bye.